my preview of the Baylor versus Kansas football game, which is homecoming. Kansas runs like a multiple pro slash wide zone offense. They average 40.1 points per game. They are 206.7 rushing yards per game, 231.9 passing yards per game. They have 147 first downs on the year, 38 for 69 on third down, and 4 for 8 on fourth down. They have only allowed 28 tackles for loss and 4 sacks, 4 interceptions and 5 fumbles, 20 pass breakups allowed and 7 quarterback hurries allowed. Time possession, 28 minutes, 48 seconds. The average 2 deep on the offensive line is 303.8 pounds. Jalen Daniels, their quarterback, he's doubtful, and I don't expect him to play in this game against us. But I'm going to go over his stats anyway, just in case. And I already got Jason Bean ready, too. 78 completions out of 117 attempts for 1,072 yards with 11 touchdowns and 1 interception. He is a running threat, too. 53 rushing attempts for 335 yards with 5 touchdowns. He's doubtful with the shoulder. He has a shoulder injury. I don't think he's going to play particularly, but you never know. But Jason Bean, their quarterback, is not a bad one by any means. Now he's a 6'3" 200-pound quarterback. That's a senior. 34 completions for 53 for 551 yards with 8 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He has 12 rushing attempts for 53 yards with 1 touchdown. Devin Neal is their best running back. He's number 4, 5'11", 210-pound running back. That's a sophomore. 76 rushing attempts for 505 yards with 5 touchdowns and 5 receptions for 35 yards, including a touchdown. I definitely know their second best running back is out indefinitely with undisclosed injuries, so I'm not going to mention him. Savion Morrison, number 28, 6 foot, 212-pound running back. That's a sophomore. 12 rushing attempts for 151 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 reception for 13 yards. Kai Thomas is another guy, number 8, 5'11", 200-pound running back. That's a sophomore. 26 rushing attempts for 61 yards with 1 touchdown and 3 receptions for 4 yards. Now the best wide receivers on the team: Lawrence Arnold, number 2, 6'3", 200-pound wide receiver. That's a sophomore. 22 receptions for 348 yards with 3 touchdowns. Luke Grimm, number 11, 6 foot, 190-pound wide receiver. That's a junior. 26 receptions for 300 yards with 3 touchdowns. Quentin Skinner, number 83, 6'5", 190-pound wide receiver. That's a sophomore. 13 receptions for 239 yards with 3 touchdowns and 2 rushing attempts for 21 yards. Mason Fairchild is the best tight end on the team. Number 89, 6'5", 261-pound tight end. That's a senior. 13 receptions for 206 yards with 5 touchdowns. So he is a threat. Just to let you know. Jared Casey's another guy. Number 47, 6 foot, 255-pound tight end. 7 receptions for 94 yards with 1 touchdown. I might have been wrong on the height on that, but either way, a tight end's a tight end. Tanaka Scott's another guy just to keep it notable, and I'm going to go over one more tight end here. Number 3, 6'4", 205-pound wide receiver. That's a freshman. 5 receptions for 88 yards. Trevor Cardell, number 45, 6'5", 252-pound tight end. That's a sophomore. 5 receptions for 65 yards with 1 touchdown. Now, defensively, they run like a 4-3 or a 4-2-5, and their defense is not that good when you look at the numbers. 30 points per game allowed. They allow 167 first downs on the year, 145.7 rushing yards per game allowed, 293.7 passing yards per game allowed. And keep in mind, last game they gave up 701 yards to Oklahoma with Dylan Gabriel for them. 50 for 110 for on third down. 11 for 16 on fourth down. 34 tackles for loss, 17 sacks, 6 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 21 pass breakups, 10 Quarterback hurries. They blocked a kick this year. 31 minutes, 12 seconds, no time possession allowed. The average of 2 or 3 deep on the defensive line is 278.555556 pounds. But just defensive tackle, 2 or 3 deep, 301.4. But 2 deep at defensive end, 250 pounds. Some players to keep an eye on, like Rich Miller, number 30, 6'1", 225-pound linebacker. That's a senior, 56 tackles and 2 tackles for loss. Kenny Logan, junior, number 1, 6 foot and 210-pound safety. That's a senior, 53 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, 1 quarterback hurry, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. Craig Young, number 15, 6'3", 225-pound linebacker. That's a junior, 34 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and 3 QB hurries. Romello Dotson, number 3, 6'1", 186-pound cornerback. He's a sophomore, 34 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 3 pass breakups. Lonnie Phelps, number 47, 6'3", 245-pound tight end, defensive end. That's a junior, 29 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss. That's a lot for one guy. 6 sacks by himself, 1 pass breakup, and 1 quarterback hurry. So as you could tell, the majority of the sacks, not the majority of the sacks, but nearly a third of the sacks came from a little over a third of the sacks came from one guy. O.J. Burrows, number 5, is another guy. 5'10", 185-pound safety. That's a sophomore. 24 tackles, 0.5 tackles for loss, 1 interception, and 1 pass breakup. A third safety. Okay. Lorenzo McCaskill, number 7, 6 foot, 220-pound linebacker. That's a senior. 2 tackles and 0.5 tackles for loss. Marvin Grant is another guy, 6'2", 205-pound safety. That's a junior. 22 tackles and 1 pass breakup. Kobe Bryant, number 2, 6 foot, 170-pound cornerback, sophomore. 22 tackles, 2 interceptions, 3 pass breakups. Malcolm Lee, 6'5", 255-pound defensive lineman. That's a senior. 18 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, and 1 pass breakup. Jerome Robinson, number 90, 6'3", 255-pound defensive lineman. That's a junior. 18 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. 1 quarterback hurry, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and blocked 1 kick this year. And I'm going to keep that in mind on that. Eddie Wilson, number 11, 6'4", 315-pound defensive lineman. That's a senior. 14 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss. Caleb Simpson, number 98, 6'3", 305-pound defensive lineman. That's a senior. 11 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, and 2 pass breakups. Hayden Hatcher, number 37, 6'3", 245-pound defensive end. That's a senior. 11 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, 0.5 sacks, 1 quarterback hurry, and 2 fumble recoveries. Sam Burke, number 93, 6'4", 295-pound defensive tackle. That's a senior. 10 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, and 1 quarterback hurry. Okay, that's pretty much all the notable guys. Though they do have DJ Weathers. I know he doesn't do much. Number 52, 6'4", 292-pound defensive lineman. That's a freshman. 2 tackles and 1 quarterback hurry. I'll put all this in the description below so y'all can see it. Now, special teams wise, Reese Vernon, number 24, 6'2", 210-pound punter. That's a junior. 19 punts for 796 yards. The long is 60 yards this year. And 2 of them went over 50 yards, and 6 punts went inside the 20-yard line. Jacob Borksella, number 83, 6'2", 210-pound kicker. That's a junior. 38 for 38 on extra points, 3 for 6 on field goals. 1 for 1 on 20 to 29 yards. 1 for 2 on 30 to 39. 1 for 2 on 40 to 49 yards. And 0 for 1 over 50 yards. The long is 40 on the year. I'm going to start with special teams first of all. You can't allow a blocked extra point to happen, or kickoff return touchdown, or punt return touchdown. You've got to be a lot better on special teams. Because the last 2 games, and every loss this year, they have allowed points on the board, or left them on the board. I mean, the mixed extra point against BYU, we would have won that game in regulation. Because you know the BYU kicker did at the very end in regulation. He missed a field goal. If you get rid of the punt, kick return touchdown against Oklahoma State, you've been a lot closer in that game. And don't allow that deep return. So they might not have scored so quick and get rid of all the momentum for that game. And of course, last game. You can't allow a blocked extra point to happen. You've got to be better in executing your blocks in that situation because special teams does matter. It does. So you got to be a lot better on special teams overall. I don't care. It has to be coverage, blocking, both kick return coverage and punt return coverage, not just one type. Both of them. That's first of all. So, and kick the ball out of the end zone every time. Because that way you don't allow that to happen. I don't know why it's been Rauschenberg's not kicking that ball out of the end zone every time now. And I know he did a majority of that against West Virginia, but that one, we allowed so many yards. Now on defense, this is going to be a challenge. The problem with us right now is we are young in the secondary and our pass defense is not that great. So we have to play more two safeties deep right now, according to Aranda. When we want to play with only one high safety, so we could stop the run a lot better. We need to stop the run a lot better than last game because allowing over 200 yards is not something we do. It's been over a year probably since we allowed that to happen. You got to be better at run defense. You got to be better at tackling. And the tackling thing was just only a last game thing, not just like all season long. It's just last game alone. My goal for this team is to hold Kansas below 130 yards rushing, if possible. Because I don't know if we're going to hold them below 100. I don't know about that. I really, really don't. So you got to be disciplined. Don't commit penalties on any side of the ball or even special teams. So I'm just saying that just to say it. That's a key in the game. Got forced turnovers, which you did against West Virginia, and we only scored a field goal there. And we got to get more stops on third down. And instead of allowing like a third, why on 3rd and 5 or less are we backing off like 10 yards from the receiver when they're gonna throw the ball? They could throw it, or in 3rd and 3, and they could throw it then. I don't know, but you got to be a lot closer, and there needs to be some changes. I think Matt Jones shouldn't start in this game. I really don't, based on what happened. What he's done this year. It's not like he's done bad. It's just I think Will Williams is better. I mean, that's the truth. So, and we got to limit the big plays as much as possible in this game, as well as don't allow so many easy throws. Some of those throws and catches by West Virginia were good, but you got to find a way to you got to get more pressure on the quarterback. So, in this game. And while containing Jason Bean, because he can scramble a little bit. So, and at least it's not like Jalen Daniels probably in terms of a scrambler by any means. So, now, as for the offense, you did pretty good last game with the exception of the turnovers. You can't turn the ball over 3 times in a game, especially on a fumble right off your leg. And it is known that for sure that it is it's just questionable for both Blake Shapen and Craig Squirrel Williams at this point. We don't know if they're going to play or not. Have a game plan ready for Kyron Drones regardless. I honestly think as long as we take care of the ball, we should have success on the Kansas defense. Because last game, like I said, they allowed 701 yards, 52 points. So that's simple. So, and of course, you got to get yourself in third and manageable. You got to execute better, which last game you did pretty good, though you had some drops. A few drops, but Gavin Holmes just needs to step up again like he did last game. And I honestly think Monterey Baldwin, the reason why he was slowed down last game is because they were double covering him. Hopefully this loosens it up so we could try to find a way to get him the ball. And I like that trick play they used last week, though I know it was incomplete and all, but that was a great trick play. So, as long as you take care of the ball, you should have success on the Kansas defense. To me, it seems like. And I would honestly say this. Slow the pace of the game down. Keep the Kansas offense off the field while resting your defense. So when the time possession, you got to win the turnover battle. I mean, that's the two things they got to do and not have so many mental mistakes. You got to pass block really good in this game. Run block, executing both of those things. And especially the run blocking, because I know it's important to help get the running backs those holes, or even like the wide receiver on the jet sweep or something. So I'm just letting you know about that. And to go into context, what Kansas gave up against Oklahoma last game. I know they for sure got 701 yards and 52 points. But you wouldn't believe how many rushing yards they gave up last week. You wouldn't believe. It's more than their average, for sure. So, and we gotta stop getting so many concussions. So, Kansas allowed 298 rushing yards to Oklahoma and 403 passing yards to Oklahoma. So, the proof's in the pudding. As long as we take care of the ball, we're going to have success against Kansas. Though I know Kyron Jones is a different style quarterback, and hopefully we don't need him to get hurt now. So, I would try to use his running ability to a certain extent, but don't try to overuse him. Because he is a better runner than Blake Shapen is. So, yeah, and it's kind of important in this game because we got to find a way to get this win here at home to get back on track. And I know Kansas is going to try to do the same here. I just think we are a little better spot. We're better than our 3-3 record shows. We have 2 1-possession losses, and that's based on special teams and special teams issues. Because if without that the extra 2 points for West Virginia there, it would have still been a West Virginia win. But I'm just saying, a little bit better defense. And don't get rid of forget the blocked extra point. We would have won that game. And we would have won that game if Blake Shapen was healthy. Against BYU. Make the extra point, like I said, and you win that game. In regulation. So, and you can't have the mindset of, oh, we're going to win this game. This Kansas team is a lot better. Is better than last year. They are better. They were ranked. They're not ranked anymore because they lost to Oklahoma, who is unranked. So, and I know that you can't have complacency. You gotta play smart, sound football on all 3 aspects and not have those mental mistakes. So, let's just go out there and give it our all in this game and get back on track, because We need to find a way to. This is a winnable game. First of all, it's at home. Second of all, Kansas is reeling. I know we are too, but Kansas is reeling from back-to-back losses now. Third, the Kansas defense is bad. They're not that good. We should exploit that defense, and we honestly should, like I said, slow the pace of the game down. That way, we can limit their possessions as much as possible. That way, the defense can get a little rest, and we don't have to throw them out on the field so much. So, yeah, and of course, points. You gotta score points on turnovers if you do force turnovers in this game. And hopefully, the defense steps up and gets more turnovers in this game as well. I just want to go over some stats on Kansas. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's give me the 400 subscribers more by the end of this year.